you could make the argument the backup quarterback has been the highlight of the position this season. So with that being said, and Zane Flores, where does Jett Niu, the newest Cowboy quarterback, fit into the quarterback room moving forward?
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by to make this your first listen. We're available on all of your podcasting platforms, visually as well on YouTube. Find me personally on X at Aldeo State. Today, we're partially brought to you by FanDuel. Make the most out of your biggest season yet when new customers can place a $5 bet and get $150 back in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com to get started. Meanwhile, we shift gears into the Cowboy quarterback situation. And I think from, the 30,000 feet view, from a public perspective, I do think that Alan Bowman this season has given a little bit of a negative taste in everybody's perception of the quarterback room. Now, in the small sample size that we've been able to see from Garret Rangel and from Maealuiaki Smith, not only are the backup quarterbacks, athletically speaking, just much more designed to run this style of offense with Casey Dunn, as opposed to somebody who's going to be fairly unmobile in the pocket. And whenever you look at Jett Niu, the newest Cowboy out of Utah, that's going to be coming in to compete with Zane Flores and hopefully Garret Rangel, Maealuiaki Smith, and Garrett Wilson next season. Whenever you look at Jett Niu's film, to me, it's very reminiscent of Garret Rangel. And they're both coming into Oklahoma State, 6'2", 185 pounds. So much like Garrett, I do think that Jett's going to need a little bit of developmental time before he's able to see the field right away. But at the same token, a lot of people assume that Maealuiaki Smith was going to be in the same breath. But as we've seen, in the little bit that he has played, he does open up so many things for this offense that Alan Bowman couldn't do. And unfortunately, Garret Rangel got hurt whenever we were rolling pretty well in that BYU game. So I hate the fact that anybody is perplexed by the talent that we have at quarterback, because I do think that it's been somewhat evident this season that we just picked the wrong guy. Now, I do hope that Alan Bowman goes off senior night against his former team, Texas Tech, in a very big way. But, there is possibly some validity to seeing a lot of Maealuiaki Smith in this game, which I think would be good for the future of Oklahoma State. I think it would be great if Garret Rangel were to be able to return as well, because even though Mike Gundy doesn't have a good track record of picking the right quarterback, we do know that he's much more comfortable with somebody who's been in the system for 3 or 4 years. And Garret Rangel is now eclipsing that marker. And everything's going very well for him. He's already doing the PT side of everything for his shoulder surgery. So I think we should expect an upticked version of Garret Rangel. And this is another reason when you look at Jett Niu that I don't see Tim Rattay going anywhere. You could make the argument that it hasn't been good enough and we should potentially move on. You could also make the argument that if we're going to find a new offense coordinator, he also needs to be a quarterback guy. But if we're not going to get a new OC and we're not going to get a new quarterback coach, the quarterback coach I'm okay with, because, again, the individuals that are coming to Oklahoma State and choosing to become Cowboys are primarily doing so because of Tim Rattay. So the relationship is there. The understanding of the game is obviously there. The minor details that, we've been able to see incrementally improve over the years. It's not a lot, but I also think that some of it is the limitations of the offense. And that's why a mobile quarterback is much more designed to be successful in this system. Now, much like Garret Rangel coming out of high school, Jett Niu can run. It's not his forte. It's not like he's going to take off and burn the house down with a bunch of 80-yard runs, but he can run. He's athletic enough to get out and make some things happen when need be. He is very, very good at throwing people open. So he did pass for over almost 7,000 yards throughout his high school career. This last season, he averaged almost 240 yards a game. Throughout his career, he's at 13.5 yards per completion. And he can do a lot of things within the pocket that you don't see out of Alan Bowman. So I think from a footwork standpoint, he is coming in a little bit more advanced than even somebody like an Alan Bowman over the years. Alan Bowman was mobile when he was at Texas Tech, but multiple injuries, and 7 years later, he's just not the same dude. Just like Garret Rangel, it's not the same kid that he was when he showed up as a true freshman. But unlike Garret Rangel, I think Jett Niu is going to have a lot of time to develop. The same thing that we're hoping to see out of Zane Flores in the maturation process and developmentally, we're going to be able to see in time out of Jett Niu. So the biggest question moving forward is, do we get to keep everybody? Because there's got to be some sour taste in some people's mouths with Mike Gundy's need or feeling of a need to ride with Alan Bowman this year until the wheels completely fell off, which is why it would be insane to me to have Maealuiaki Smith start this game as opposed to the last two. But nonetheless, if you have Maealuiaki Smith, Zane Flores, Garret Rangel, Jett Niu, Garrett Wilson, athletically speaking, you have more than you need to be able to run this offense. Again, if you want to peek back into when we were most successful offensively with the help of Casey Dunn, it was under Spencer Sanders. And it was very frustrating to see him go through one read, two read, take off and run. But now we know it was kind of a vital importance for him to do so. So the mobile quarterback is absolutely imperative to the success of Casey Dunn. So if we are going to get Casey Dunn back next season, which that would be, I don't know, a travesty, I guess you could say. But nonetheless, I am pretty happy with the quarterback room. I've been saying before the season started, I did not think Alan Bowman was the best quarterback on the roster. I feel much more comfortable even now saying that. When you see somebody like Maealuiaki Smith come in and clearly be better suited to run the show and run this offense, it should be frustrating. If I'm Garret Rangel or even Zane Flores or Maealuiaki Smith, and I went through weeks after week after week after week after week after week of knowing that I could do more than the starter or feeling very confident that I could help the team out more so than the starter, it almost feels like you had a season wasted. Now, Garrett, I will admit, gets a little bit of, I don't know, an extra incentive having the injury, because now he's going to be on more of a mission than even this previous year. And coming into the year, he should have an open opportunity to win the starting job. I would assume that, he thought he could beat out Alan Bowman this year. I think he did beat out Alan Bowman this year, but Mike Gundy thought different. So it's, to me, less about the talent, and it's more about just choosing the right guy. And admittedly, if you have a three-way competition next season, that doesn't really give everybody the warm and fuzzy feeling that we're going to open the season and have the first few weeks squared away and as good as we can physically possibly be. The schedule next year, it's not murderer's row, likely, but it's not going to be easy either, especially in this wild, wacky conference that we've found ourselves at the bottom of in this season. So this year, and who we decided to choose to be QB1, in my opinion, is not indicative of the actual talent that we have in the quarterback room. And because of the talent that we currently have on top of some of the guys like Zane and Garrett that should be returning, knowing much more of the offense, now you have Maealuiaki in there knowing a decent amount of the offense here towards the latter part of the season. It's going to give Jett Niu the capability to not have to be thrown in the fire far too early like Garret Rangel was. That is a benefit that Zane Flores is likely going to have. Outside of the injuries, he's not really been pushed unnecessarily into action. And because of the talent between Garret Rangel and Zane Flores and Maealuiaki Smith and even Garrett Wilson, he's not your run-of-the-mill typical walk-on. We're going to be okay. And we're going to be okay with giving somebody time to develop in Jett Niu. Speaking of giving everybody some time, it is gift-giving season. And one of the easiest ways to do it is with Skylight. Whether you're way ahead of the curve or you're a last-minute shopper, Skylight Frames is probably the best thing that you need to be looking at because it's a win for any portion of the family. If gift giving isn't your cup of taters, this is a win-win situation for you. I'm speaking about myself, right? My love language isn't always appropriately distinguished in the gifts that I give. So I'm trying to up my game, and the digital footprint is all over in today's society. So you might as well just embrace it. If you come from a big family, it can be hard and expensive to buy each person, the right gift. So plan your celebration when they open the gift ahead of time with this particular gift. It is a way for you to stay connected with family, no matter how far apart you guys are, throughout the course of the year. It is easy to use. The setup takes less than 60 seconds. The sharing is absolutely seamless, so you can invite friends and family to share photos all across the country. You can add new photos straight from your phone from virtually anywhere. It just takes a tap on your phone to send new photos to the frame all across the country. The touchscreen is the best. You can swipe through photos, tap to see new ones, and then hit the heart button to say thank you to the sender. This is the best way for you to have the guaranteed gift of the year that you don't have to stress about too much. And now, as a special limited time offer for our listeners, you get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight Frame when you go to skylightframe.com/college. That is Skylight Frame, SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/college. Get that $20 off your purchase now at skylightframe.com. And after you get the gift giving figured out, it's time to gift yourself something with a little bit of FanDuel action to help you out. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know it is America's #1 sports book for a reason. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 back in bonus bets if your first $5 hauler is a winner. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets all in one place. So when you get that hunch that something crazy is coming, the game is about to completely change, you can check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more from the same page where you place your bets from. You can get started today with $150 back in bonus bets if your first $5 bet is a winner. Make sure that you go to FanDuel.com to join today. That is FanDuel.com. Never waste that tingling sensation in the middle of the game. Make every moment matter more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. The Cowboy basketball team under Steve Lutz finally has their first loss of the year. And, it's hard to get mad, right? You really cannot. It depends on what your expectations were coming into the season. But coming off of the Mike Boynton years where we would get the 5-star All-Americans and we'd get all the McDonald's All-American style of recruits, the X's and O's was just never there. So we could have NBA level talent all up and down the floor, but it was never resulting in a whole lot. The Steve Lutz brand of basketball is that old school dive 24/7, bust people in the mouth, jump over the scorer's table, that style of team. And in the first half against Florida Atlantic, it was a fever pace for us, and we were able to slow them down. And this is a team that scores over 90 points pretty regularly. This is not the same Dusty May FAU, so they've got a lot of pieces that are pretty new. One of those pieces was Kai Tandy. That dude is good. All right, certified, put up 21 points. They got 14 from Evans Jr., and then their point guard is pretty daggone good as well. He put up 13 points. Oklahoma State was led by point guard Khalil Brantley. He's a very good facilitator, but the problem with Oklahoma State in this game was, whenever you're shooting 34% from the field and 23% from the three-point range, you should probably get blown out. But because the defense is so phenomenal, this was a close game all the way through to the very, very end. So as much as it is frustrating having a loss, it's frustrating seeing Marcellus Chi-Chi Avery struggle, seeing Bryce Thompson struggles, obviously not fun. He went 0 from 4 in the field and 0 for 2 behind the arc. So if we don't have Bryce Thompson scoring and we don't have Marcellus Chi Avery scoring, we're going to be in a bad spot. Then comes the foul trouble. When you play as aggressive as we do defensively, it can sometimes equal getting into foul trouble. And although we do have a lot of depth as far as good pieces, we don't have the lottery pick style of guy who can take over a game. That should be Bryce Thompson. It could be Marcellus Chi Avery. But everybody else, more or less, is going to kind of play a specific style of role. Brandon Newman, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can offer a lot of things, but he didn't quite get to the double digits. The fouls were another problem in this game. And the announcers were irritating me, if I'm being honest with you, because they kept talking about how this is a very good referee crew, and this reffing crew has a bunch of Elite Eights and Final Fours and Sweet 16, so they're not going to take kindly to this and that and the other. For being a veteran professional crew, 55 fouls? Are you joking me? I don't find that super professional at all. I'm not saying that that's why we lost at all. It's not. I just gave you the shooting percentages. That's why we lost. But whenever you had to go the final essentially 7-8 minutes of the game without any bigs because everybody had fouled out, it's going to be difficult to eke out a W, especially whenever you're so guard heavy in that moment. They're going to guard the perimeter, especially if you're getting down. So the more we got down, the more dependent we became on the 3 ball, the more one and dones ended up, coming up and down the floor. And then you get in a position where you have to foul, but you can't really afford to give up any fouls because you've already got 3-4 dudes fouled out of the ball game. It was just a recipe for disaster. But here's the silver lining. We shot, 23% and 34%. And there's 55 fouls, and we had almost four dudes foul out, and we still were in this ball game. I know a lot of us got kind of down on the Mike Boynton years, so expectations need to, be catered. This Steve Lutz team is defensively worth the watch. So even the games that we do not shoot very good at all, and we can't darn near buy a bucket, the intensity, the tenacity, the defense are not only so much fun to watch that it's still worth going to the games, but on the days that we do shoot well, those are the games that we're going to have the opportunity to upset anybody. And in this conference, when you're talking about the Baylors and the Texas Techs and the Arizonas of the world, you do need to have the capability to stretch the floor and also be able to hit shots. The defense is going to keep us in several games. The defense is going to keep us in games that we maybe shouldn't even be in. But if we get into foul trouble or we have a bad shooting night, those are games that we're likely not going to win, even though the defense is going to keep us in it. So even though it's a loss, and even though it was kind of frustrating towards the end of the game, especially after the havoc the defense was creating in the first half, you got to give credit to FAU. They made some phenomenal adjustments, and their head coach was a former Baylor assistant, so he's a Scott Drew guy. It's a decent loss. And FAU is a team that just made a Final Four run, and they've got some pieces still left over, but it's not the same Dusty May team. It's all right, though. At least we know this is an exciting brand to watch. Defensively, it's going to be worth the price of admission every single ball game. And the times that we do shoot pretty decent, those are games that we can win, and we should almost be expected to win. I think the depth will come. But we're just not a very good offensive team, right? Side is it's not the Mike Boynton era, not very good at not very good at offense teams. Because then we were contingent upon isolation ball. So we needed one dude to carry the load offensively, or we didn't really have a lot of opportunities to win. So at least this is considerably different. And the expectations, obviously, for us as Oklahoma State fans, are to just take care of the home floor. We're undefeated at home, okay? We lost out on the road. It was a learning moment. We fouled out. We couldn't hit shots. We couldn't buy buckets. We did pretty good on the boards. We did very good in turnovers. We did pretty good in fast break opportunities and scoring off of fast breaks. We just went through 2 long stretches where we couldn't score. And then we started fouling out. So, wasn't great, but it could have been worse. It has been worse, right? See? Glass half full, bright side. Here we go. We got something else to be excited about. PrizePicks. It's right. The more than or less than is back inside your life. So even if you're doing the traditional style of betting isn't your cup of tea, PrizePicks is super simplistic because it's you picking more than or less than. It's literally that simple. And then you'll have the opportunity to basically 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long with PrizePicks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. PrizePicks is the best place for you to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When the picks hit, all you got to do is check your phone in the next 15 minutes, and bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. PrizePicks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this season. Do not waste this opportunity. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Play the $5 holler and see what you can get done here. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday each and every, you guessed it, Tuesday. This season, it's been a lot of fun to watch Tyreek Hill and Chuba Hubbard. The question is, are they going to be able to continue to do more and get more yards than they have previously for you to capitalize on the monetary value? The Chiefs keep cruising, but Travis Kelce, is he going to get more than 59.5 yards receiving? And is Saquon Barkley good for more than 79.5 yards rushing? You get to choose more than or less than today. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download that app today. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Make the most of your opportunities with the more than or less than capabilities that you have with PrizePicks. Get your money right with more than or less than. From PrizePicks to David Taylor, picking his moment in Gallagher-Iba Arena in a top 25 matchup against Wyoming. And although it is going to be pretty exciting just to see David Taylor get, his moment inside Gallagher-Iba Arena, I think it's going to be absolutely vital for the fan base to show up and show out. Because basketball, of course, we're going to try to build up for Steve Lutz. The women's side of the Gallagher-Iba treatment, I think under J.C. Hoyt, is going to continue to matriculate up the board. Now it's time to see the Cowboy wrestling squad under David Taylor in Gallagher-Iba. I mean, he recently said in a quote, "I'm very excited to wrestle inside Gallagher. The history and tradition that goes with this program is in that arena. We have some cool things that we're doing for the guys just for the walkouts. I think things are going to be exciting. It's not just a dual meet. You are participating in a show. This is an event, but it still comes down to wrestling. You got to come out and score more points than your opponent, and that's what we're kind of focused on. Well, how about it, David Taylor's number 3 Cowboys get to take on the 24th ranked Wyoming Cowboys. It's a battle of Cowboys, and there's going to need to be some upsets in this one. At 125 pounds, Wyoming has the number 2 ranked wrestler in the country in Jor Volk, so he will be favored over our number 6, Troy Spratley. Whether it's going to be Reese Whitcraft at 133 or Cale Hughes, either one of them might be a little bit of, a trending pick. But as we continue to go down, is it going to be Tegan Jameson at 141? Likely. If so, we're going to be favored there. Then we got to go to Stillwater's own Carter Young, the number 18 ranked wrestler at 149 pounds, goes up against number 19 in the country in Gabe Willichell. Travis Teague, number 16 in the country, goes up against number 22, Jared Hill. Number 6, Cam Amin, goes up against unranked Cooper Voorhees, but Cooper Voorhees is undefeated. 174, we have Dean Hemedy Jr., who's undefeated, who should be a favorite there as well. 184, Dustin Plott, number 3 in the country. He'll be a favorite there. Then you have 197, Luke Serber looks really good, but he's going up against number 16th ranked Joey Novak. And then Wyatt Henderson goes up against Kevin Zimmer. There's going to be a lot to pay attention to in this one, whether it's going to be Reese Whitcraft, whether it's going to be Cale Hughes. And then the same can be said at 141, right? Colter Burton didn't look great, but he also, I take that back. He didn't look bad. He happened to go up against one of the top wrestlers in the country, and he held his own. So we can't say that, it would be completely crazy to have some matches not go in our favor. Wyoming is a good team, but this David Taylor era needs to be fully embraced by the crowd in Gallagher-Iba Arena. So let's try to show up and show out Friday for David Taylor's first experience as a Cowboy in the most historic arena in America at 7 p.m. Central Time Friday. So make sure you get out tomorrow, go to Gallagher-Iba, see what this David Taylor point scoring machine is going to start to do for the hallowed halls that Ed Gallagher started a long time ago. All righty, y'all. I reckon that's all we're going to have for this one right here. As always, I love you. God bless. Go Pokes. Thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. You could be anywhere. So happy you choose to be here. Like it if you like the dang hang. Dislike if you don't. That's okay too. More importantly, share, comment, and subscribe. My podcast people out there, you are everything that makes this whole thing go. So I appreciate you. Do what you do. Hit the stars. Leave a review. All righty, y'all. You know the drill. Later, my taters.